McAdoo, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, McAdoo? That was gnarly. That was super gnarly. I don't think I was the only one that thought he wasn't going to get back on the bike. To me, it even looked like he was knocked out, but I guess no concussion. I think that there should be some discussion on that whole situation of letting him ride again, because I'll get into it after this, but it's a little bit weird to me. But what I want to talk about is the crash itself and why it happened, because I think there's a somewhat simple explanation. Carmichael was on the right path. I mean, he's Carmichael. He knows what he's talking about, but he seemed like he was having a hard time getting his words out, which I have a hard time with too sometimes. So I'm just going to go a little bit further off of what he was saying to show you possibly what happened. It's all about suspension. A shock is just a spring. It's pretty simple. A spring compresses and then it decompresses. The whole point of you being a rider, you're trying to pretty much control the compression and decompression of the bike. I mean, you could do it through clicker adjustments. That's like a simple way of viewing it, but also with your technique, with your body positioning, it all plays into how the suspension compresses and decompresses. So, and in this view, we have two very good examples of what to do and what not to do when your suspension is decompressing when you don't want it to. So with how these jumps were built, this is why I'm a little bit critical of Dirtworks. Is in these smaller sections where the jumps are shorter, they tend to build them where it's a steep transition, flat, and then another steep transition, instead of it being more smooth where it's a little bit more predictable what your suspension's going to do compared to when it compresses and then is it going to decompress, is it not going to decompress, where it could have decompressed when it's flat and then compress on the next takeoff, which is what you want, instead of where it compresses when you land and then on the flat area sometimes it stays compressed and then it decompresses on the next jump face. That's not what you want. That causes an endo, like we saw. But there is a way to combat that, and I will show you that. Hunter Lawrence did it very well, and McAdoo didn't do it at all. So, when you watch Lawrence here, when he lands, suspension, we're watching the rear. The suspension compresses, and then it stays compressed the whole time, and then it decompresses on the face of the next jump. Now watch his body positioning. What he does is he just leans back off of the bike. Like his butt is on the rear fender. That is to counteract the force that's going up because it's decompressing on the face. And that allows him to do the jump without endoing. That is what you want to do. That's what pretty much everybody was doing. But when we watch McAdoo, what he does is he's in that mindset of just going as fast as he possibly can. So he's trying to stay as low as he possibly can over every jump. And what you do when you want to stay low is you ride really aggressive, which causes you to ride over the front, and you start scrubbing some jumps, and sometimes when you scrub, you do it over the front, and that's what he does. So he goes into the jump, his handlebars are pretty much in his gut, so he's on the face, the suspension is about to decompress, and he's trying to do a little soak-up scrub, and instead of doing it like Lawrence, where you just lean off the back of the bike, where you're pretty much, your butt's on the rear fender, he just does it straight down. So he's not counteracting that force from the rear suspension that's putting the bike forward. He's just going straight down instead of back, and then the bike kicks. And then there's nothing that he can do about it. I think that the next view, God, that is such a gnarly crash. Oh, God. The next view shows it even better. So Lawrence is going off the jump, but goes towards the rear fender to counteract the bucking that you get because your suspension is decompressing on the face of the jump. And then you have McAdoo. Just look at how far forward over the front of the bike he is. So Lawrence's head, when he's at the jump face, is behind his handlebars, where McAdoo on the jump face, his head is in front of the handlebars. So he's already so far forward on the bike, and then he just soaks the bike up straight. He's not going backwards at all. See, his head stays above or in front of the handlebars. So he's not counteracting that. Oops. What did I just do? So he's not counteracting the forces that are causing the bike to go forward. That is the main thing. He didn't lean back. It's a simple explanation, But what caused it is kind of complicated. His suspension decompressed on the face, and he did not counteract that force like everybody else was. And I think that had to do with a mindset that he was in, to just go as fast as he possibly can, which isn't a bad thing. But in this instance, it caused him to crash. So yeah, there you go. Carmichael was saying that he scrubbed it. The bike was started to go forward, and there was nothing he could do about it. All he really needed to add was that the bike decompressed on the face of the jump, and McAdoo was too far forward on the bike to counteract that huck-a-buck. Not complicated, but there you go. And then, should he have been allowed to race after the red flag? I looked in the rule book, and I didn't see anything that said the rider that caused the red flag will not be allowed to race when the race is restarted. We may see a rule change in the future because of all this, but I would guess probably not. I don't think that was such a bad move. I don't think it was wrong in any sense. But what I do think is a little bit worrying is that they did a very simple concussion test on him. Us riders as professionals, we're supposed to go through a concussion protocol. We take a baseline little test quiz thing, and then I'm guessing that you go to Alpine Star in their rig and you take it again, and they go off of your baseline in order to say that you're good or not. And they just did a very simple verbal what happened, where are you, that kind of thing, in order to release him. I'm not saying that he had a concussion, but if he did, that was very dangerous to let him be out there. So I'm very surprised that Alpine Star, the medic crew, let him go out. But that's their call. They are the medical professionals. I am not I'm not anybody to argue against them. So if they felt that he was fine, then he was probably fine. And that's a heck of a advertisement for Bell helmets. Bell might have just sold a lot of helmets because of that. And the fact that he wasn't injured besides his groin is just, he hit so hard. I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward this I'm just going to pause it. Oh, man. Oh, how, the fact that he didn't get hurt is insane. Absolutely insane. And now the question will be, he's going to feel a lot worse tomorrow than he did during that race. Adrenaline pumping. He was able to stay a little bit loose, but as soon as he gets a night's sleep and he wakes up in the morning and he's all stiff, the question will be, can he recover enough for Saturday? That's a big ask, if you ask me. We'll see. He kept his championship hopes alive, that's for sure. If he wouldn't have raced the restart, would have been done. Big ups to Cameron McAdoo. Showed a lot of heart. He's a gnarly dude. He's a super gnarly dude, but he needs to quit crashing. I think I even said that in my predictions for this coast, is that McAdoo crashes a lot. So he needs to get that under control, and he could be super legit, winning championships, no problem. But yeah, there you go. That's why he crashed. Should he have been allowed to race? Who knows? But one thing I do know is that Cameron McAdoo is a gnarly dude. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm in the process of making a pretty special video right now. I'll give you a little sneak peek, and then, yeah, I'll see you in another video. Bye. Man, it's cold.